Welcome back to Business Daily. Now we have our top stories on our global oil prices, and quite a few things happen on that. I have joining us virtually to have a conversation on some of the top stories, and our conversation for today is JohnBosco Ezenwa, a business consultant, joining us virtually from here in Abuja. Good morning. Good morning. It's good to have you. If you would kindly help us, maybe increase the volume of your voice or amplify your voice, that will be better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. We can hear you clearly now. Let's go into one of the top stories this morning, and just looking at the SBM intelligence rating Nigeria as critical. Now, these people do their own things where they say, according to them, that the index is composed of 4 major risk clusters: leadership and governance, weighing 40%, and economy 30%, geopolitics 15%, history 15%. And when we put all that numbers together, for leadership and governance, we scored 16, economy 20, geopolitics 6, and for history, we scored 10. That's what we got, and altogether we came to 52. That's the number that they're saying. Now, what do you make of that? What's that report from SBM?
Great. So the report from SBN, it's really what it is. Again, having looked at the indices as evaluated, history at 10, you cannot take away the history that Nigeria has made, right? But on the economy side, Nigeria scored some points, 20 of 30, which is okay, given the activities in country. But then two areas are very critical: governance and leadership. Very, very important. We were scoring 16 of 40, which is not good score. And also geopolitics. Geopolitics is very important. Very, very important. Now the question will be, what is Nigeria doing across countries in Africa? What are our programs for the other countries in Africa? What are we doing? What are we supporting? Yes, in the past we used to be big brothers. Yes, we have our own problem in-house. Yeah, but it's important. Geopolitics is very important. And don't forget, the president is just appointing ambassador since inception, since he came into power. Just recently, ambassadors are being appointed. So we have lost out in the geopolitics. And it's important to find our footing there and begin to establish that big brother role that we have across Africa. Not just militarily. What are we even doing politically? What are we also doing programmatically? Are we also tapping into the other part of the health spaces across Africa? Yes, we have our own challenge that could be shared learning. So these are the two areas that faulted our works. These are the two areas that faulted our works: geopolitics and on the other end, the governance and economy were still there, plus or minus.
All right, now let's equally look at some of the other things that have come up that yesterday were released by the GDP and NBS, rather, National Bureau of Statistics, and that's our conversation for today. We're diving into that right now. Nigeria's GDP rises by 3.98% in quarter 3 of 2025. Now, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, this is marking one of the strongest quarterly performance since 2020. The growth was driven largely by agriculture and industry, signaling a gradual recovery despite persistent inflation and foreign exchange pressures. Key drivers of this growth is agriculture, industry, services sector. For agriculture, it's expanded significantly, supported by improved rainfall patterns, government mechanization programs, higher output in crop production and livestock. For industry, it posted strong growth, especially in manufacturing, food processing, cement and construction, boosted by increased local sourcing of inputs and reduced import dependence. Services sector grew more moderately but remained the largest contributor to GDP, with telecoms, financial services and trade showing stable performance. Now, why does this actually matter? The Q3 numbers suggest Nigeria is stabilizing after a volatile first half of the year. Do you actually agree with that statement?
Yes, great. it is what it is from the NBS, haven't done all of the metrics, all of the measurements that are taking place. Now, importantly, if you look at it, the non-oil sector continue to support the GDP. The non-oil sector is the main hold, the mainstay for our GDP currently. I would just assume that, see, the oil sector really, over the years, have shadowed the non-oil sector, but now the non-oil sector have gotten professionals and people who are driving that, and government is giving all the support that they can provide for the non-oil sector. It is not out of place that agriculture, we spoke about this before now, that agriculture is taking the lead because people have got to eat. People have got to move their crops from one place to another. Farmers are back to the farms, and also government is supporting with mechanization and land clearing, which is key to boosting the economy and getting us back where we used to be in the 60s. Now, we have the services sector contributing the highest. Yes, everybody is beginning to offer quality service and boosting the economy. And the services are not just on the formal side, but also on the informal side, which is good for us. But again, if you notice, the oil sector contributed minimally, not so much because of the it's limiting really how many players can we get in the oil sector. What is even the employment rate at the oil sector? Thank God for all other sectors that have improved. You even had the addition that the third sector has contributed to the economy. The third sector currently is even providing more jobs for people and making communities and homes to thrive. So I agree with the NBS, the measurement, and NBS lately have been doing a whole lot of work, putting out the stats. Just last week, we looked at the happenings when it comes to the to capital gains,
Gains, yes, first half
and
of the year,
also we looked
capital
at
income, yes.
yes, and then we look at also the CIT, agriculture, finance. These are non-oil sector topping the charts, and it is evident, it is seen because these are the sector driving, and they are plus or minus affected hugely by the foreign exchange market, also by the volatility of the economy. Say, for example, with inflation that is happening, and the infrastructures within, and also governance. Key is governance. The ministers, the agency heads who are leading all of the sector in this oil sector, they've been contributing their best lately, and so we hope for an improvement. We hope for more push. We hope to scale the achievement recorded in this quarter.
All right, now, you said it's a great thing, but and so far this year we've seen that the non-oil sector has been actually helping the GDP grow. However, is this momentum sustainable?
Yes, it is. It is sustainable. It is sustainable for two reasons. Number one, the oil sector, I can't say that there are limited players within. The players are already established. Government is a huge regulator in that space. This is Nigerian cash cow, all of these years. For a long time, this has been our cash cow. Now, the non-oil sectors have to get on their footing, equal footing with the oil sector. The oil sector received all of the attention this year, all of the attention, even regulating some way other sectors because transportation is there, the decider for movement and all of that. But now the non-oil sector players have taken the bull by the hand, but still by the horn as well, to to drive the destiny and all of this. So what does that mean? It means that efficiencies are happening, structures are being built, and people are involved. The banks are there giving all the financial support that need to happen. So I expect that if the gains recorded in this quarter from previous quarter are put together, we'll get more gains. We'll get the sector also pushing for the economy and also reducing the debt to ratio that Nigeria currently enjoy that is not so bad currently. So I believe that it will work well for the country really.
All right, you mentioned something about not having a very limited number of players in the oil sector. Earlier in the program, one of our top stories was about the NUPRC opening up for more oil blocks. Do you think that would in any way impact the happenings in the oil sector?
Of course, it will, because the opening is to allow more high net worth individuals and companies to go in. It's a space where not small players are required. You need a lot of funding, you need a lot of capital. FX plays in that space. So it means that that the agency have done their work. And what is the work they have done to actually know this player, evaluate them, who are those coming in, will they be a plus? Don't forget, entry barrier to the oil market and oil sector is very high. You know, it's very high. So the players who are coming in, maybe companies, organizations, individuals who have gotten funds, foreign investment, and all of that, and also trying to expand. So it is a good thing. It means that there will be accumulated gains for us. But again, I must say, the sector really, from historical facts, is heavily regulated by government. It's key that government regulated because it's one of our biggest exports. And also the players within have to have all the experiences, have a lot of funding to go in that market, and also have a lot of reach to get to all the markets that they can get to.
All right, now let's go back to the fact that agriculture was the major driver for this Q3 growth. Can we actually stem that on real improvement, or just because it's harvest time and we're seeing this improvement in the agricultural sector?
Okay, so in the agri space, is a lot of investment that also go in the agri space in terms of funds, government also investing, timing, management, and all of that. So it's not just tied to the fact that it's harvest season. No, it's tied to the fact that more funds have gone into that space, and we are seeing output. We're seeing output. The market currently, we have a lot of food in the market. Even the fact that the government also has subsidized, obviously intervened before now to allow for food prices to be reduced. Food from home in country have also joined with that. And so when you have meals, because don't forget the Maslow pyramid and Maslow principle, food is very important. After food, you have housing, clothing, and the rest of them. So now that we have this gain recorded in terms of our agri space, the next is to see, and also is there also in the earnings or the gains that real estate is also found between, manufacturing is also there. So it's not temporarily, it is to show that we are in order according to the books. You need food, health follows, and the rest of them. We have agri there, real estate, and the rest. So we're good to go. The gains will continue to increase or improve if the players going to put in more efforts, also going to structure the environment. It's also key to note that agri is becoming a business. It's not a social enterprise, as not so much of a social enterprise or a place for intervention. It's becoming a huge and a big business. And the players within now understand this. And for that essence, more investments are made, food packagings are proper currently, and storage proper, storage infrastructures are available. These are a lot of funds that has gone in. So successes, gains will continue to be established as we move on.
Okay, still staying with the agri sector, do you believe that it can continue to actually drive the GDP growth rather, despite the insecurity situation, of course, the issue of climate changes and shocks? Do you actually believe that agriculture can continue to drive GDP growth?
Yes, I do. I do, because the agri market really is for all of us. We all need meals, we all need meals. The industries need to take some of these crops and the foods and process them and put them on the shelves. A huge investment has gone in. Modern farming methods are being established currently. It's not business as usual. A lot of professionals, experts are going into farming. It's not regular hoe and shovels. No, we have mechanized farming. Even as AI has been adopted in farming methods, which help to regulate or do controls of the environment and climatic factors. This is happening. Soil testings are going on. Startups who are building products to monitor irrigation systems, not where we're depending on the seasons. No, irrigation systems are being developed that work. So I expect completely that these gains that we have recorded continue to go on, but we must get the support of the government because this huge infrastructure that has been put in by investors, whether external or internal investors, it's important that they get value for money while they are building human capacity and also delivering quality products in our market, products that we can be proud of, products that meet export conditions, products that meet all the health benefit and also take up the yields. We reach accurate yields. Unlike before, currently in the agri space, yields are now measured beforehand. You can tell plus or minus how much of yield would I get when I put this on the ground or when I put this in my aquaponic farm and the rest of them. So I expect that there will be gains. I expect that there will be improvement and continuously.
Now, what key reforms should the country prioritize to sustain this growth path? The aim of the government is to hit about 7% in a few years' time. We're heading there in the right direction, but how can we sustain it till we get to 7% GDP growth in that time?
Okay, support really, support not just from the government end, but also from professionals. It's a big business. The non-oil sector is doing fine. There's no gainsaying. There's no debate. There's no doubt. If you look at the the stats all of this months since from last year, the non-oil sector doing very well. So what are required? Number one, government support. Government needs to continuously engage with communities and open up new lands by way of land preparation, open up new lands for farmers to gain access and also work. Number two, the cooperative systems, the localized cooperative systems before now have to be strengthened. And to be very fair, many companies or individuals who are in cropping or better still in farming, whether it's animal husbandry or cropping, are supporting cooperatives and farming communities by even giving them seeds and grants and the rest of them, also training. Agricultural extension needs to be key. Agricultural extension needs to continuously happen while more players get into the system. I will tell you, I know some agric farms, some farms are currently making students from universities see the need, especially students who have read agri-economics or agri and the rest of them. They are also bringing classroom knowledge into the industry, and this is causing the continuous gains that we see. So if all of this continues, really, it will not just be a shadow gain that we have achieved in the last 3 months or 4 months. We'll see value for all of the investment put up.
Okay, now the federal government and states, because away from the federal government, we clearly have the states playing their role. Since agriculture and manufacturing is helping to get us to this new GDP levels, how well do you think that they could support these people into 2026 so that the growth is continuous? Especially the states, because you mentioned the government. Let's go down to the subnational. At the state level, how can they support agriculture and manufacturing?
Great. So, interestingly, the states have the huge burden really to do this. It's the federal government is engaged with so much, but the states really have the huge burden to get agri to its feet and put it there as a pride of place for themselves and the rest, because each state is known for one product or the other. I know in the past there have been policies where one LGA, one cottage industry, or one LGA, one product, something that the state can be proud of, support intensely. So the state needs to come forward, really, put their best foot forward to support agriculture. Interestingly, the agricultural space allows for a whole lot of value chain and allow for more entry, also help to checkmate poverty. So it's important that the states continuously do this, give the support to the farmers that are within it in terms of providing them with the right information, where to source agricultural products is key, while they are also supporting investors that has come into the state and put down their resources to grow. Now, it's really on the states, not the federal government is engaged with most of the policies that happens, but the state government need to drive this. It's key. Take a cue from one LGA, one cottage industry. It could be cottage industry for one of the agricultural products you are known for. So you can elevate that part. There is Simidan to work with, there's NISAL to work with, and a whole lot of government agencies who are looking forward to this sort of collaborations to demonstrate the gains or demonstrate the achievements that these states have done in terms of agriculture or manufacturing and the rest of it.
All right, let's go over to the other report that came out from NBS yesterday. It's about the debt profile, and it's risen to 152.39 trillion naira in quarter two of 2025, according to the NBS. Now, Nigeria's total public debt increased to 152.39 trillion naira as according to 2025, and this reflects both domestic and external borrowings of the federal government, states, and the FCT, and represents a significant rise from the previous quarter. Now, what are the key highlights? Total public debt, 152.39 trillion naira. What are the primary drivers of this increase? New domestic borrowing to finance 2025 budget deficit, exchange rate depreciation, which raised the naira value of external debt, rising state-level borrowing to cover salary obligations and capital projects. Domestic debt continues to account for a large share driven by bond issuance and treasury instruments. External debt also expanded, partly due to multilateral disbursements and FX valuation effects. Implications of this: higher debt servicing cost, especially as interest rates remain elevated, reduced fiscal space for social programs and capital expenditure. And what could be the opportunity? There's some implications actually, but let's go to the opportunities. Debts can support infrastructure and growth-oriented investments if well managed. Now, these are the things, and we keep asking this question, talking about it. Just a few months ago, or rather a few weeks ago, the president went to the National Assembly to ask for a 14.9 trillion naira loan, to fund the 2025 budget deficit. That increased, has brought some about this. And we were celebrating that, we're not borrowing this year, but we've had to go do that. How can we structure these debts to actually do what they ought to do and not keep piling up and causing more problems?
Okay, interestingly, some of us are really worried about this rising debt profile because it's not going anywhere soon. We are borrowing to pay salaries. We are borrowing to drive the economy, borrowing for infrastructure. Now the question is, what are we getting back from all of this investment that we have put up? Now the issue is there, and the answer was is also from the discussion we had first. The evaluation. Where is leadership and governance really? We take funds to solve problems. What is the output? Are we solving that problem? Look at the railroads. We put a lot of funds to do the rails. We're happy about the rails. It's costing the country. What is the rails putting back in the government coffer in return to pay back these debts? We are building bridges and the rest of them. Interestingly, I also feel that there may be an obstacle somewhere where the states can't even collect funds, or better still borrow from themselves or something, because if you look at the FCT is out of the TSA. So I think that states should also approach, because the FCT has no external debt really, which means the FCT knows something that other states don't know. So if other states can take a cue, look inward, what can we do with the funds that we receive? Can we also get off TSA for rapid development so we don't get to owe external debts to persons? So it is really worrying, like deeply worrying, that we are building our debt profile, leaving debts for our children's children. This is not how to really run a nation. What do? We're not there in geopolitics to find a way to ameliorate all of this and improve. We're not also there in terms of leadership. even the economy is shaky. We only enjoy the history we have gotten before now in being the big brother, but we're losing all of this because when our debt profile increases, we may not be able to pay salaries from borrowing. We may not be able to meet up our infrastructural demands. We should look inward. It's time to look inward. All of these funds that states are borrowing, the federal government are borrowing, it's worrisome, really. It's in trillions of naira, and it's debt for the future. So I think that the agencies that are involved, the debt management office and the rest of them, have to begin to help the country to see how we can ameliorate this borrowing, and also advise strongly civil society and other pressure groups. We must find a way to hold this down. You don't borrow, even when we teach business, all the business we've been into, you don't borrow because of borrowing sake. You borrow to finance an investment, or finance something that gives you return in the immediate, whether short term or medium term, not so much of the long term. So we're also defaulting on the normal economic principle. So it's worrying, really, to say the least.
All right, we see that some of the things that increased this borrowing or brought about the borrowing itself was salary payments, and for states. And we've probably seen that in this year, or since at least last year, the allocations that go to these states have equally significantly increased. Why does there seem to still be an issue with having to borrow to pay off salaries when things that are coming to the state governments have increased as well? How could this be mitigated?
These are the issues. These are the issues, really. These are the deep issues. This is what people, some of us, keep asking. The state governments are receiving a whole lot more now. Subsidies are gone. Where are these funds channeled to? Where are the infrastructure? Our roads are not even motorable. Not to talk of the insecurity issues across. The roads are not motorable. You can't drive from here and go anywhere in this country. You must fix your car. Transportation are on the high. Now, if the roads, now there's a concentration on the coastal road. But I think, like every other Nigerian that this concerns, I think that we should look inward. Look at, we're in the festive season now. Families are going to be on the road to go join their loved ones across the nation. Farmers are putting out products to bring them to urban areas. There are no roads, and the governments have more funding. Can the local governments or the government begin to support their localities in terms of creating access roads with what they have, also supporting production, supporting the agricultural space, also working very closely with a SMIDA, with NISA, with any other, with NOTAP, to build indigenous technology to support their localized production, whether it is agriculture, whether it is something improvement in their tourism, while we also fight insecurity. Now, the huge blame has gone to insecurity, but that's not the issue. Where are the roads? Roads are simple means of getting product and services from one place to the other. We need to fix our road, really. If we don't do that, all of these gains will be eroded, or we'll keep talking about this, we keep borrowing money and doing the things that are not important. When you fix roads, tourism will improve, people will travel, we can even peradventure cut insecurity. The roads are not good. The roads are the major means of transport. Not everybody can afford airplanes. And now we're already in the festive season. People will move around. There is panic, there is fear, of kidnapping and the rest of them. So the government in the states must support. If we put our farmers in the states, in the jungles and the bushes, and support them, we can even curb insecurity one way or the other. That's my thinking. That's what I think would happen.
One of the other issues here is that the external debt increases due to the FX volatility. So the FX changes, the amount changes. Would it be wise to probably have to reduce external borrowing at the meantime as to reduce the number or the amount of debt that we have to pay later on?
The external borrowing is what bothers me on the personal scale, and just like you said, it is very true. As FX increases, your borrowing, your payback increases, and this puts huge pressure on available resources, on even our reserve, So what is the way forward? We need to stop external borrowing. It's very important. We can look inward. The funds are here. It's just like running the country. Yes, people will argue it's not like running the family, but think about it. Even in the business schools, you don't go out borrowing if you cannot pay back. You can't borrow to pay salaries. The businesses must generate the salaries for themselves. You borrow money to scale. What are we scaling? What are the industries we are building with these funds? What have we put in our tertiary institutions that will yield quality graduates and give birth to quality products that we can patent and be in the top map, whether it is digital or wherever. So we don't borrow really just for borrowing's sake. Now, if you look at it, look like we're borrowing for borrowing's sake. Where are the roads? Where are the industries? The informal sector has been supporting this country all the year round. Where are the effect of the borrowing? Do we have the best railway system? What our railways doing? Our railways conveying petroleum products currently from one way or other, or trucks are still on our highways. These are the issues. So we don't need to borrow. Look at the FCT does not have external borrowing. So there must be something that the FCT knows that other states don't know. I say it again.
Okay.
If the TSA is the problem, let there be some arrangement within the states and the federal government so that we can do some gains.
All right, now let's come to the repayment plans, for these loans that we have borrowed. Now, do you think that we have enough revenue reforms that would help us to slow future debt accumulation?
From all indication, there are no mechanism to repay these loans seamlessly. Even though there are policies put in place to help to do this payment, but the government really, it's one foot forward, two step backward. In terms of policy, I give you a case in point. We had borrowed money to do the railway, and then in December or in Christmas, instead of subsidizing the fare, you say it is free. How can you pay? You borrowed money. Yes, you love the citizenry. Yes, I agree. But again, in that subsidy, it's even chaos when you go by the rails. Now, we cannot continue to do this. There's so much policy instability. You create a policy, you don't follow it. There's also inefficiency in terms of the governance of all of the agencies that are supposed to help to control these loans and get them to be repaid.
Okay.
There's also where situations where even the DMO, they make some form of policies and a form of guidelines for borrowing parties. They don't adhere to it.
Okay.
They jump the gun and go do the loans despite not meeting the conditions or the rules that are set in place before we go out borrowing. So this is improving, or better, increasing our debt profile. It's worrisome.
Okay.
The government and the agencies need to do more.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, JohnBosco Ezenwa, for your insights on the conversations today, both on the GDP growth and the debt profile increment. And that's it for us on Business Daily this morning. For more of our programs, news and documentaries, do want to follow us on social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I've been your host this morning, Chiamaka, Nwafor. Same time, same place tomorrow. Bye for now.